Hello there. So, let's talk about Mastermind Creations, or MMC. They are basically one of the best third party companies, in my opinion. They are basically doing G1 designs, but sometimes it's stylized, sometimes it's that straight G1 copy. From what I can tell, their focus is to make them as easy and as intuitive to transform. And I love it. I don't have any of their reformatted stuff. I only have their Ocular Max Perfection series stuff. But still, it's really nice. Case and point. So today's review is about the Ocular Max Sphinx. And just to clarify, this is the alternative version of this figure, which basically means he's got a lighter shade of blue, where you can't really see on camera because this camera doesn't really pick blues that well. And all of the parts that were metallic silver on the original are a dullish gray, to be more cartoon accurate, I guess. I picked this one up because it was cheaper, so yeah, I'll go with it. And for now, I'll talk about some accessories that incorporate in the vehicle mode. First of all, he comes with a holographic driver, which is an awesome idea for a vehicle that is open like this. And he just attaches in there. But mine seems to be a bit warped. I don't know if you can see it, but one of the arms doesn't really reach for the wheel. It can't stay on for the transformation, but it's still nice. It's a nice idea. And he has these pegs on the spoiler back here, which are basically to store the two guns. I'm gonna talk more about them in the robot mode, but for now they just peg on to here. This one has some trouble with it, and mine has got some paint chipping on the tab. So if you get yours, be careful, and I'm not plugging that in. I'm not stupid. So now let's talk about this vehicle mode, this glorious vehicle mode. I'm gonna say it, I love this alt mode for Mirage. Even though it's not like a car that would make sense on a road, it still looks really cool. And Ocular Max did a great job translating it. I think this is a Lightyear JS11, which I don't know really cars. I'm not really an lazy eyebrow with cars. But I'm pretty sure it's a race car. And one thing I know for sure is that they censored a lot of the names for the sponsors. Like, I know here is supposed to be G-Tanes and not C-Tanes. I think Mirage may be British because there's an L here on the front. There's also Goodyear here on the legs. I don't know. I think that's it for sponsors. There's also Liger instead of Lightyear. And this decal specifically on mine is a bit scratched, but still looks cool nonetheless. And all the tires here are rubber, and a very nice rubber. This figure is basically, I think, more than 10 years old, or at least close to 10 years old. And they haven't decayed in that time. It hasn't crackled or anything, and it rolls fantastically. And one thing that surprised me was the amount of paint on this thing, because I wasn't really expecting any paint, but what it has is really nice. Like, the white here is all painted, and you all don't know how what pain in the ass white can be to paint. And having it this clean on a car on top of blue, it's really good. Also, the red stripes are really nicely done. And from what I can tell, this part right here is painted blue on top of the white, and it matches colors perfectly. And it's just fantastic. And also it has a really nice weight on the hand because it has some die-cast metal parts. Here on the vehicle mode, the visible ones are the engine part here in the back. I think it's because it's chromed that they just wanted to show the metal. There's these pieces here that are going to become the heels on the robot mode, these struts on the back, and I'll talk about more of the metal in the robot mode. But for now, let's get into some size comparisons. I don't have any of my Masterpiece figures transformed, so I'll just pull out the good old deluxe class Barricade. I don't think they're in scale, I don't really care, but yeah, it's a good size. It's a bit more than a deluxe. I think this is basically a deluxe for a Masterpiece figure. Like these Carbots are what we could define as a deluxe class for Masterpieces. Not that they are lesser quality or anything, but these are the smallest ones, and sometimes the ones that are more fun. So now let's talk a bit about transformation. Well, the transformation has some fiddle factor, but it's not that much, it's not that bad. First of all, you need to take the wheels and pull them back, and then you need to extend this part. And we are basically gonna fill this in. You need to basically detach this part, which causes some stress because there is no clearance between this panel and this panel. So it may be a bit fiddly for some. And this needs to come back, but not all the way. It will come down. And it has this hole here on the back, which you'll plug into a peg that is right here. Same thing for the other side. And then you need to take these pieces and just get them down to here. And then you need to rotate these engine parts. And now you can separate the legs. And now this part will come up, it will rotate, it will split apart, come up, and it has two pegs on each side, which will plug into two ports on each side. And now you can rotate the waist around. And now he can stand up. Now we'll work here on the top. This part here, it can slide. It sometimes will slide back, you need it slid forward. And there's these gray parts on each side. You need to basically fold them out. If not, you may cause stress on some of the joints later on. And you need to fold the wheels to the inside. And this part, this red part, you need to get it a bit down. And one thing I like about the spoiler, I don't know the name of this, I'll call it a spoiler, is that instead of folding in half like the transform element, it collapses in on itself. It really is smart in my opinion. And now you can take the arms and pull them out. And you can basically untap this and rotate it down. And you need to get the red part in basically in this part right here. So everything lines up. And now you have these white parts right here that will basically fill in the rest of the body. And as you can see, we're almost there. Now you can untap this white part here, the top part, and you can extend the arms, pull these down, and fold these up. And now we got an arm done. Same for the other side. And now you just pull the head up. And the head here has some options. For now, as you can see, I got the smiling face on, because I really like this little subtle expression that he got. I don't really like these newer expressions where it's like, oh, here's an extreme smile or an extreme yelling face. I really like this subtle one. But out the box, what he got is basically the blank face with no expression, It's basically the same paint-wise and sculpt-wise. And he also comes with a blank back part, which basically is supposed to be a clean version of this, if you don't like the racing decals. I don't really mind them being there, and it acts as some form of sculpting to say, oh, this really turns into a car for me. And also here is when the two weapons actually integrate into him. The shoulder launcher has this great tab right here. And there's basically a die-cast part right here that it will slide in. It can only slide on one side. So yeah, you can't really dual wield or dual shoulder the cannon. And then to tap the weapon here on the hand, it's a bit more of a pain, because he's got the trigger finger split, which basically means that the trigger finger is separate from the rest of the fingers. But this figure also has an articulated thumb, which basically means that you got to wedge the thumb into the part here. And it got in easily, but the first times around it was really tight. And he holds them just fine also. And here we got Mirage in his robot mode. And I gotta say, I love it. I love how he looks. He really looks interesting. The car parts integrate very well with the robot mode. And he's also very sleek and very thin, which basically, to me, I think suits the G1 design of Mirage. I'm not gonna get into the Rise of the Beast and the Michael Bay movie stuff, because those are separate characters. They have their own design, and they are entirely different from this. So I'm not gonna go there. But this version, it's not that bad. And I actually prefer this design to the Transform element and from the Fans toys, because I really don't like that really plain accuracy paint job that they have. And this figure also has some really good sculpting detail that I really enjoy, that those figures really lack. And also one redesign that they did here that I appreciate, that I saw I think on Cardboard Bots, is that they flipped the text here on the sponsor on the side for the 26 to be on both shoulders. So it now looks more symmetrical. And I also like that the chest is actually filled in with these decals, which basically means there is no need for an Autobot symbol here. And some third-party figures really have that lack. I've got their hoist, and it really is missing an Autobot symbol. Well, that's what stickers are for. And now for aesthetics, I think the head is really good. I don't know if you can see it, but he has metallic blue eyes, which really pop against the light. And it really is a handsome head, man. I think the smiling helps it too. And for articulation, he's got a ball joint basically, and he's got a hinge joint here on the neck, so he can basically do a bit of he can look up this far, down this far, he can tilt the head, and he can rotate, but the shoulder launcher can get in the way of that. And also the head was a bit too loose out of the box, so I tightened that up with a little bit of super glue, which is a common problem with this particular figure. The only other review I've seen of the alternative version of Sphinx is from the TM reviews, and he's also got the same looseness issues as I got. I'll show more of them, and some of them are actually fixed. But yeah, buy it at your own risk. But I think the original version was actually tensioned really well. So if you get the one with the darker blue, you can actually get a really good version of it. But the torso here is perfect. The white here complements the blue very well, and the sides here of the car don't look distracting, which I think for me at least the Fans Toys looks a bit distracting with that light blue. Same with the Magic Square one. And he has a waist swivel, which is really good. The tightness is perfect. And he's also got an ab crunch. It's light, but it's there. And on mine at least, it's a bit too loose, but it can hold the position just fine. As for the arms, they got a little bit of sculpting detail in here and in here, but as you can see, it is a bit hollow on the inside. And I don't get why they chose this. I think it's for articulation because the bend at the elbow goes really far and it really is good, and you can close the gap if you move the elbow a bit back. So it's not that bad. The only thing I can say it's bad is that this shoulder thingy here only rotates, it doesn't go out, which is something I will compliment about the Fans Toys and the transform element. But for articulation here, the arm can go all the way around. It can go up about this far. It has a bicep swivel. The elbow, if you do some finagling, you can get it this far. And the hands have this motion due to the transformation. It can rotate, and it has the trigger finger, 3-finger split. It's fine. I don't really want articulated fingers on this size. After handling the KFC transistor, I really am glad that this figure has simpler fingers that are pinned instead of those little tiny ass ball joints. But yeah, it's really nice. As for the legs, I really like the legs. There is a bit of sculpting detail, and this inside part is really well done. I really like when third-party figures actually put some sculpting detail here on the inside. It's one of the few things I like on the KFC transistor. It's that the whole inside of the leg is gorgeously sculpted. And also, it has back detail. This line and these 3 dots, and here on the top, it really is small, but it's really well done. But the problem I have is for the articulation, because at least on this leg, the forward's okay, but he doesn't want to hold the back part. It really is a little bit springy once it hits a certain part. But it's really minor and I can deal with it. It can go out that far. You have a thigh swivel that is a bit limited, but for me it's not that bad because I don't want to rotate past this point. I don't know. You have a double jointed knee that goes about that far, and you get an ankle rocker that goes that far, and the toe can go up and down. So yeah, I really like the aesthetics and I really like the articulation here. Some loose joints aside, he's really well posable. And I think for a Masterpiece figure, it has all the joints that I want from a G1 Masterpiece figure at least. It's really well done, it's really well painted also. And I forgot to mention, but he has basically a butterfly joint here on the shoulders also. Just for a bit of flex. And I really think this is a nice figure for Mirage. I really want to get the movie version, I think it's Dino, the one that turns into a Ferrari. Because I really like that design. And I don't mind having the G1 and the movie versions, as I like both versions of Mirage. And for now, let's get into some size comparisons. I don't have really something that I think it's Mirage to compare it with, like a mainline release or something, but I do have other Masterpiece figures. Here it is with a Masterpiece Prowl, and as you can see, they are really comparable size. And as I said, I think this is the deluxe of Masterpieces, basically. And for the last size comparison of the day, here it is with the Best Toys Soundwave. the K of the New Age Mista, basically. And as you can see, two different aesthetics. It's really not worth comparing, as I said. But I think that's it. That's the video. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.